Good evening. Thank you for joining me. My name is Susan Pyne. I'm a Senior Access Developer with IT Impact in Chicago. I'm also the Chapter Coordinator of the Access User Groups. So this is the second meeting. The first meeting we just went over the basics of Access. Tonight what I want to go through now is creating tables, all the functionality behind that. So first of all, before you do start to code, you really need to spend some time planning your database and the structure and have a clear understanding of the functionality of the final product. But also the data you want to store, the table structure and data types for each columns. So either take a pen and paper or on a Word document and just list the fields, split them up into the tables, give it plenty of thought, as it is harder to make changes once you have started coding and creating your Access objects. Also be careful, think about the field names. It's better not to use spaces in your field names. Instead, just capitalize each word to make it easier to read. And also be careful of using special characters. That can make it quite tricky with code later on. Okay, so the data types. The data types are also important to understand. The data type, the short text data type is the most popular, and it lets you enter almost any character, letter or symbol. However, careful selection of data types can help you take advantage of more Access features, such as data validation and functions, and this improves the accuracy of the information you're storing. As you can see here, this is just an example of a couple of tables that I've been designing. I've capitalized the cases, the words, so that it's easier to read them as opposed to using the spaces. In the client table, I'm using the word client first in front of each field name so that I know that that field is coming from the client table, as I have with sales. The asterisk is indicating which field I'm going to use for my primary key. I know there. And as you can see here, then we're going to use the client ID within the sales table. And that is what would then be called a foreign key. But we'll be going over those shortly. Let's first of all take a look at the different data types. Okay, so we have the short text, as I mentioned, which is the most common one, and that allows you to store up to 255 characters. That is the limitation. So we also have a larger text field, which is called the long text, and that is the field which you tend to use for memos or notes. Then there is the numeric field, and this is obviously just for numeric values only. We have the date and time that allows you to store either just a date or the date with the time. The currency field, this is a monetary value, and although we tend to use 2 decimal places in general for currency, Access does allow the use of up to 4 decimal places. Then we have the auto number. This is generally used as the primary key, and this holds the numeric value. It will start from the value of 1 and increase by 1 for each record. This is a unique number to each record. You cannot have a duplicate for the auto number. Next is the OLE object, and this allows you to upload other objects such as allows you to upload other objects to Access such as images and other ActiveX objects from other Windows-based applications. The hyperlink, this is great for when you're storing emails or website addresses in your application. It allows users to actually just click on those. It will act as a hyperlink, and it allows users just to click on those and launch, say for example, a website, take them straight to a website, or if it's an email, it can launch Outlook and send emails. Okay, then attachments, which again, this is for files, pictures, documents, spreadsheets, okay, so that you can keep track of some customers. You may have documentation related to the customers, application forms you need to attach and keep there with that data to track. And then we have the calculated fields, which I will go into and show you later. You don't actually enter data in these. This is a field that will calculate based on the criteria you set for the calculation. And then the lookup wizard, again, I'm going to do a demonstration of that shortly. And this allows you to choose data based on the settings, the options. Okay, now let's discuss the primary key. So the primary key is a field to quickly associate data from multiple tables and combine that data into a meaningful way with a unique reference. Access can search and sort on data much quicker by using a numeric value than it can with a string value. So when creating a table in Access, if you forget to add a primary key, it will prompt you. It does allow you to create tables without primary keys, but it will prompt you to suggest that you do add one. And I do feel that this is a very important part that you need to remember in your tables. Now, as I said, in general, this would be a unique auto key, but if, for example, you have a product table and you have your own defined product numbers that you want to use, as long as they are just unique and individual, you can use those as a primary key, no problem. Now, as you can see here in this image, we have a table above with customers. It's got the customer information and the ID field, which is the primary key for these customers. Then we have a secondary table, which is the orders. And we have the order ID, the order information, and if you look at the customer column, that is not storing the customer name, it's actually storing the customer ID. So in this case, where we're using the customer's primary key here, this is what we will call a foreign key. And it allows you to refer back to this table. So by linking this data on the customer ID with this table, it allows you then to pull in information regarding that customer. But you'll see better once we start creating queries and forms and joining tables together to bring data to one. So let's start with a demonstration now on creating an Access table. Reduce this and launch Access. Okay, we're going to choose a blank database. And I'm going to save this as user group. Okay. Great. Okay, so when it launches, it automatically loads with one table there. So just let me, I'm just going to close that for now, and it's removed that because I didn't save it. And we're going to start from scratch, creating our own table. So to create a table, you'll go onto the Create button, ribbon, and you'll see this section is related to tables. And we want to create a table. So let's click Table Design, and it'll put my table into design mode for me. And I'm going to start adding the fields that I want to use. We'll start with Client ID. This is going to be my primary key. So I want to make this the auto number. Okay. And I'm also going to right click here in this box, the grey, and I'm going to select primary key. You'll now see there's a little key symbol placed there next to it, and that is to identify that that is my primary key for this table. Let me continue with the other columns that we want. Client name, that will be short text. I don't want any spaces. Client address 1, short text. 2, short text. Down. Zip. Again, short text. 3. Text. Date added. This one is going to be date and time. Just hit the D key and it brought it up. Active. This is going to be the Boolean yes, no field. Client notes. This one will be long text. Okay, now I'm going to press Ctrl and S to save. And it prompts me to put a name in for my table. And to start with TBL, which I use as a prefix to show that, remind me, this is a table, and the client name and the client. Now I'm calling it TBL client as opposed to TBL clients because we think of it as each record is a single client. You don't have multiple clients in one record. So TBL clients. And I can close that table, and you'll see now this table is here in the navigation bar. If I just double click on that now, it's opened the table for me. And we can see that the column names are the field names that I assigned to it. It's not very attractive the way it looks, and I will be showing you shortly how to clean that up. First of all, I want to go ahead and create a second table. So again, I'm going to go Create, into Design View. This one is going to be my sales table. Sales D, W, one. Okay, so let's change these. This needs to be the auto number, and this one needs to be currency. Again, the sales ID is going to be my primary key. Select that. You just continue now with sales date, which is date time. Sales client. Now this field is actually going to be a numeric value because what I want to store here is the client ID. Make that a numeric value. I'm going to also have a sales rep. We'll create a table for that. Now let's just make that a numerical field because again we'll store the rep's ID in there. Create a sales flag field. That is going to be the Boolean and the sales notes, which is long text. Okay, save that. Yell sales. In this case, I have named it TBL sales because there could be multiple sales for one client in here. Okay, so now we have two tables created and we can see them in the navigation pane. So what further properties can we consider now? So let's take a look at the tables again in Design View. Let me close this one. I want to look at the clients in Design View. And you can see here at the bottom of the screen, we have properties that apply to each field data type. As you can see, some of the data types, as I click through, have more properties than others. They change property settings based on the data type we have selected. One property type that they all have in common is the caption, and this is a label name for the fields when they're in Datasheet View. If you remember when I showed you this table in Datasheet View, it was showing these field names as the labels. But obviously you don't want your users to see it like that. You want something a bit more attractive and easier to read for them. So if we go now through each item here and update the caption. In the case of client name, I'm going to name this customer. The address one. We'll keep that address one space address 2. Then we have client town. I'm just going to call this town. For this one will be zip code. And we have the country. It's added. Active. And finally, we have notes. Now save that. Put this in Design View again for you in Datasheet View. And you can see now how the labels have all changed. And it's so much easier for users to read those. So that is the caption property. What other caption do we have here? Okay, so we have the default value. And this allows you to set a default value where you have common data entries. So in this example for client with country, if you're just going to be dealing with clients from specific countries, maybe you want to restrict, just have a default value, so that if the majority of your clients are from the USA, you can just come down to the default value, type in USA, and watch as I click away from this field. You'll see that it puts some quote marks around the word USA, and that is because it's a string value, it's text, so it needs to have those quotes around to read it. good thing is I just typed in the word itself, but Access takes care and updates that for me.